Thor, God of Thunder, published by Sega, developed by WayForward Technologies for the Nintendo DS, that's the one I'm playing, released in the year 2011, which is the same year I graduated high school. Wow. It took me about 2.5 hours to complete, and that's not going and getting 100%. That's just, playing the game through. So right off the bat, I'm going to mispronounce things. If you guys say something different, cool. Just let people live. My brain is weird. Can't help myself. The story starts off with Asgard being invaded by the Jotun. The frost giants from Jotunheim, where Loki's really from. During the invasion, Lady Sif is injured, and in the movies, they kind of downplay her role, but Lady Sif is actually pretty important in the comics and in real Norse mythology. But I digress. Thor presses forward, and while he's fighting, Loki's out there tricking Thor into thinking Lady Sif has died, but we know she hasn't died because we've seen it. I think that's an omnipotent point of view where the reader and watchers of movies and books and stuff know something the character doesn't. I don't know. If that's not it, correct me. I can't remember my English stuff. But it's a joke that Loki takes too far, and by Thor traveling across all these Norse realms to retrieve Lady Sif's soul, he unleashes Mangog upon Asgard that Thor has to stop from destroying Asgard. Unlike Thor Ragnarok and Surtur, or Sooth, whatever his name is, that must destroy Asgard in the movie. Great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, I highly recommend it. I found it entertaining. I know some people didn't like it. Whatever. Taika Waititi is an amazing director. Surtur does make an appearance here, but he is not the main bad guy. In this neat little DS game, it's set in the MCU, but also more in the comics as well, because they use Chris Hemsworth and the cast's images for the pixel art, but the comic story, as far as I know, Mangog hasn't appeared in any movies, and this was his first video game appearance. I shouldn't say that because maybe he was in like the old Commodore ones, I don't know, but his first appearance in the comics was Thor 154 in 1968, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the comment section below. So audio, common to a lot of these DS games, not all, a lot. There's no voice acting, it's just static screens with text to go beautifully with the pixel art. It all blends together so well, and the screens are stacked on top of each other like a DS, not like some games where the bottom screen is like a map or something else. It's all just there. You get to use the whole double screens. It's beautiful. The music is a vaguely superhero style theme, whatever, kind of like the Thor movies, but not really. It's just, I put some podcast and music on after because I was just like, I don't want to listen to this. And it's not a knock against the game. It's just some games, once I know there's no voice acting, I just put on other stuff instead. I cannot stress how much I love the art style here. It is so well drawn, animated, and just an overall well executed game. It feels like some more thought was put into this game more than most movie tie-in games, because you guys know that's my kink in life. Movie tie-in games. Maybe it's that Marvel polish. I don't know. I can't speak for the console versions, but I know those weren't the greatest. As far as sprite-based action games, this is just, playing it wise, is just amazing. The combat is fluid, there's enough animation frames that things don't feel stilted, and the detail of the set pieces are amazing, the detail of the characters are amazing, and this is going back to the story, where it's more a comic book style. Like Hela is more comic book based than the movie did with Hela, but this came out way before Thor Ragnarok, so I'll cut it some slack. But everything just feels so grand, and you're immersed into the game, and you get this otherworldly sense of scale, which is perfect for a Thor game. Yes, you're the God of Thunder, but you're not the biggest thing in this game, and they do it by not shrinking Thor. They do it by everything else having a sense of scale. Even on these two little screens, they managed to make Thor feel like the most powerful, yet the smallest thing on screen, which is, it's not done a lot, or it's done a lot, but not well in some cases. So gameplay-wise, this is a neat little action side-scrolling game. We've seen them once, we'll see them again. We've seen them in the 80s, 90s, we've seen them 2000s, we see them made today. Side-scrolling action games are going to be made till the cows come home. It's not a problem with that. The combat and powers are solid. Like, I can't stress how good the combat feels in here. It definitely plays way better than, I'm assuming, its console counterparts and a few other DS games I played recently. You wield the mighty Mjolnir, I know I'm gonna butcher that, and some other godly thunder powers during the duration of your grand adventure across the Norse realms. Jeez, tongue-tied today. You also find these little orbs in the world that give you some stat boost. With, like, your armor gets a stat boost, your helmet gets a stat boost, Mjolnir itself gets a stat boost, and you have slots you can fill, but I think you can only choose one per object, so you can pick and choose what you like. If you want all health boosts, if you want all damage boosts, all kinds of things, it's there. After you finish the game, you can play on a survival horde mode, which was something I was not expecting, and it is difficult. I tried it hard. There's also a Frost Grinder Assault, which is just, you know, an assault on Frost Grinder. And you get to look at the pixel art gallery of all the characters you've encountered, which is such a new, beautiful little thing to look at. Because I just can't stress how beautiful this game looks. The pixel art was really well done on this. So what's my verdict on this game? I have two thoughts. WayForward is known for, the developers of this, is known for making games, mainly handheld games, handheld franchise games, I should say, with a few console releases here and there. I do happen to enjoy most of their games, like, I think they did the Shantae games recently, and I know they did DuckTales Remastered, and this game just happens to fall in another one of their amazing games that I really, really enjoyed playing. They also have some games I'm not a fan of, though, like the Game Boy Advanced Scorpion King Sword of Osiris. That game is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. And they also made Contra 4 for the DS, which is another game that I could not get into. Contra is already a hard game for me. Contra is a hard game for most people. But then, I don't know, it just wasn't done well for me. Their game ranges between decent to what the hell, and this falls into that. And although this game is short, with maybe 1 or 2 replays to get every little orb and every nook and cranny and all this kinds of stuff, it was an entertaining game for the time played. It has the Marvel Studios polish in a handheld game, and you know, let's hope that Square Enix, and I'm dating this video right now, Square Enix and the Avengers game is good as well, fingers crossed. It had detail and care put into this game. The gameplay is easy to pick up and put down, which is perfect for a handheld game. You don't want something that is a slog to get through, a slog to pick up. You just want something you can pick up, put down, and because I mean, it's a handheld game. It's not a console game where I'm preparing to sit down for 4 or 5 hours. A handheld game, it's like, oh, I got 50 minutes here, I got half an hour here, pop in a quick session. I don't really have anything bad to say about this game, Thor: God of Thunder for the DS. Pick it up, play it, and just enjoy the hard time and work that went into it. I definitely want to find this one and add it to my collection, and maybe that'll finally encourage me to get another DS. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. I hope you guys pick this game up, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you'd like to become a Patreon, you can. That would be awesome. Links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.